Sorry, I was a little late there getting started. I'm going to wait and see if some people come in so we can talk about the paranormal and what does the paranormal mean to you. Okay, I'm just double checking everything here so I can follow it with the computer. Just double checking everything here so I can follow it with the computer. Just double checking everything here so I can follow it with the computer. Just checking everything here so I can follow it with the computer. I'm not going here. I got that. What's going on here? We're gonna see. Wait for a few people to come in. Don't know why it's not showing up there. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Okay, just my notes here, so I'm not sticking my notes up in the air. Okay, I'm just waiting to see if someone comes in. Was trying to do this on my laptop, and it's been a while since I did anything on my laptop, so I'm on a different route here. Do I believe in the paranormal? Yes, I do. Why do I want to discuss the paranormal? Maybe people would understand me and my channel better if I explain why I believe in the paranormal, how to use the paranormal correctly. And yes, I do smoke on my channel. Right now, I'm just doing this as a armchair. My home is under construction or remodeling, so I'm kind of limited on what I'm using. Oh, thank you, Goddess. Right now, I'm kind of a mess today. But I thought I would come on here and discuss the paranormal. Can I ask you, Psychic Goddess, do you believe in the paranormal? Yes, that's what we're going to discuss today. The reason I started my channel as a paranormal channel, do I feel that it is real? Do I feel there is a realm of paranormal? Yes, I do. Why do I believe that? Through my own experiences. That's why I believe in the paranormal. For years, I didn't want to believe it. I ignored it. I didn't really know how to explain it. And when things would happen to me or around me, no one else was feeling that. No one else was seeing that. But I was. And I didn't understand why. And when I was 20, I had to have an emergency surgery. During this surgery, they lost me twice and brought me back. And it was maybe a few weeks or a month after the surgeries when I started noticing changes around me. I could hear things that other people couldn't hear. I could see things that other people couldn't see. So at first, I thought I was losing my mind because I would say, "Did you hear that?" No, they didn't hear it. Did you see that? No, they didn't see it. And then we would be maybe in an area driving by, and I would get this strange feeling that would just come over me. No explanation, just a feeling. And I'd say, "Does anybody else feel something strange or uncomfortable?" And no one else was feeling it. So I was really thinking I was losing my mind. What is going on? Why is this happening to me? And I felt that I was cursed for years, cursed. Um, didn't want to talk about it. Yes, exactly, exactly. And when I had my surgery, my emergency surgery, I was devastated because I was only 20 and I woke up realizing that I could never have another child. Thank God I was blessed with one child, a daughter. So at 20, I was impacted with that. And that was taken away from me. And I lost that ability. But I think I also gained an ability so I could no longer give the gift of life. But I think it was exchanged with a gift I did not expect, did not want, and was not ready to accept. So this is how my journey started. And like I said, for years I wouldn't talk about it. I hid it. But if we would be driving down the road, like one day my husband and I and my daughter were in a vehicle and it was a very curvy road. And I said, "Oh my, hit the brakes, hit the brakes." And he's like, What? He didn't see it and he hit his brakes. And he said, "I don't see anything." I said, "I don't know. I just know we need to stop, slow down, stop." Well, when we went around the turn, there was a huge vehicle accident. There was four vehicles and it was really bad. If we had not have slowed down when I said stop, we would have been right in the middle of it. And my husband looked at me and said, "How did you know that?" I said, "I don't know. I can't explain how I knew it. And I don't want to talk about it. You know, it was just something you didn't want to talk about." But that day, I think I realized maybe it wasn't a curse. Maybe it was a gift. My gift was of being able, as a woman, to give life. A new life in this world was taken away. And I think that God knew how devastated I was going to be, you know, to at 20 realize, who am I? Am I still a woman? What part of me is ever going to heal? I mean, I woke up in shock, anger. I was so angry. It didn't, I didn't understand why. Why did this have to happen to me at 20? And then in the same year, both of my sisters were pregnant. So it was so hard for me to visit them, even though I love them, because every time I would see their belly, I would break inside. I was like, I'm not a woman anymore. I'm nothing anymore. And maybe God realized how I was going to feel, how I was going to react. And I really think that's why my gift is a gift. It's not a curse. It took me years to realize it's a gift. And gifts, if they are used correctly, if they're used properly, you can do so many things with a gift. You can help or you can harm. I do not ever want my gift to harm someone. I don't want to ever say, "Yes, I can tell you what's going to happen," and give you false hope. I will never give false hope to anyone. If someone says, "Can you tell me what should I do?" I don't want to do that. I don't feel that's what I'm led to do. And I would never forgive myself ever if I told someone something and maybe it was incorrect or they took it the wrong way. And tragically, something would happen to them. I would never forgive myself for that. So, what I began to do is to monitor what was going on around me. What do I hear? What do I feel? I could even smell things that no one could smell. I could hear things that no one could hear. And I just started monitoring it, taking note. When does this happen? Does something occur after it happens? Am I being led to understand something? So when you're given something that you are not expected, you don't buy it, you don't want it. You have to figure out how do you use it. And I'm glad that this many years later, I'm now going to be 62 in December, 42 years later, I'm ready to go out and investigate the paranormal. Because, yes, the realm of paranormal is real. How do you define the reality? Is how do you determine, is it real? By process of elimination. If I hear something, I'll bring it up to my husband now and I'll say, I'm hearing a thump, and what does the thump sound like? Or what does the, click sound like? And he had his own construction company for 30 years. So he built homes from the ground up. He was a certified electrician. He was a certified plumber. So we go through and we check the structure. Is the structure sound? Could that be causing this sound? Is there a plumbing problem that you're hearing? It's in the pipes. You have to go through a process of elimination. Um, are you mentally stable when you're hearing this? Are you rested? How are you eating well? Are you, in a good place mentally and physically, that you're not just imagining that you're hearing something, that you're actually hearing it. You're actually, that you hear it. It's not an hallucination. You have to go through a whole process of elimination. And then if you're going to go into the paranormal, you're going to need equipment. And what kind of equipment do you need? Temperature gauges. And, if something paranormal is happening around me, I will feel a drop in temperature, immediate drop. Um, the or I will a heat. You will feel hot. No one else is hot. Um, so you need a temperature gauge. You may want something that you can determine, like the K2 meter that I use. You can determine energy. My husband's, like I said, was a certified electrician, and he can take that K2 meter and put it up next to a hot wire that runs down a wall, inside a wall, to a light switch, and the K2 meter will go from the beginning green light up to red. It will show you, yes, there is power, there is electricity, there is some form of energy that will cause the K tutor to actually work correctly. That's the main thing. Does your equipment work correctly? You can't just go out and say, I got this because it was sold to a ghost shop or a paranormal group. No, you have to purchase the piece of equipment and then put it to the test. Prove that the equipment is working. Debuff everything. I don't know. I'm not seeing buffering on my end. Oh, okay. Um, I'll go back a little bit. What I was saying is if you're going into the paranormal, you need equipment, like the K2 meter. And I was explaining how my husband, as an electrician, can take that K2 meter and he can walk up to a wall and he can put that K2 meter up next to the wall where the outlet is, and it will go from the solid green light all the way up. It will show, yes, there's power. So if you purchase equipment, you can't depend on, well, it was purchased through a paranormal site, or whatever. If you purchase the equipment, you must try the equipment out. Prove what is the equipment doing? Is it working for you? Is it working correctly? So the K2 meter, I got it, and my husband and I checked it out. Him, as a certified electrician, said, yes, this piece of equipment is working correctly. It does work. So the next, because I wanted something to show energy, temperature. When I get experiences, I will feel a drop in temperature or a rise in temperature. So I wanted something that could show the fluctuation in temperature. I'm sorry I smoke on my channel. I hope nobody's offended. Trigger warning. I smoke. I drink coffee. But anyway, so what I started doing is slowly building up equipment, equipment that I could try out. Um, I wanted to see if what I was experiencing, that I could prove that experience with not only what I was feeling or thinking or sensing, but could equipment pick up what was really happening around me when I feel these particular sensations. And so I slowly started building up equipment. Oh God, something that does temperature. It will show um, drop in temperature, rise in temperature. And of course, I asked my husband, I said, I want you to follow. This is how this equipment is stated that it works, but I want you to prove to me that this is legitimate, that it is a good piece of equipment. So again, he with me, along with me, and all of his knowledge in construction, and if he's working, say, on a furnace or something, and he needs a raise in temperature, drop in temperature, I want something accurate. So I went with the EDI. Now, an EDI, I can probably get up here and get couple pieces of equipment. The EDI is a very nice piece of equipment. Move around. My house is under construction, so I'm limited here. Okay. The first piece of equipment, of course, the K2 meter. That was the first one I was explaining. It does work, proved that it worked. Detecting power. The next piece of equipment is the EDI. Now, this does multiple things. With the EDI, you can get a temperature, and you can also get movement. So if it was turned on, this would be your temperature gauge. And then down here on the bottom, anything that happens, if it's bumped, you've got these yellow, orange, it will actually show movement. If something would have to come up and literally touch or jiggle this piece of equipment, it also has um, a temperature as well as the humidity, in a place. If any, all these different things can be detected. This is a very, very accurate piece of equipment. If you want to check and see is something happening around me when I'm experiencing um, maybe a change in the environment around me personally. I feel it, I sense it. The REM pod. Now, the REM pod, I do use it. It's new, uh, but I don't just want one individual REM pod. So I have two different REM pods. Okay, this one is made by the Paranormal Electronics Group, and they do make very good equipment, and they're out of the UK. Now, this one has everything in Celsius. So it's all Celsius and not Fahrenheit. And again, it works just like the regular REM pod. You have to touch it. So you've got this one. Again, as long as you're not touching it, it's fine. But if there's a drop in temperature, it's going to indicate it. If something comes close, it's going to indicate it. So that one I use in conjunction with this REM pod. Now, this REM pod is not the original REM pod. This is the newer model. And with it, it has a temperature gauge and it has your range that you can set it on. Now, any piece of equipment, this one, when you turn it on, it will set. It takes it a minute to calculate. But if anything gets near it, just like the other one, you're going to have activity. However, with the REM pod and with any piece of equipment, always use fresh batteries, new batteries. Um, if you have a REM pod that's just going off for no reason and it's constant, 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 check your batteries. Don't just say, oh no, look, it's paranormal. My REM pod's going off. No, debunk it. If you cannot debunk it, if you have a new battery, if you've checked everything, then yes. This piece of equipment can be showing that maybe the beeping is a temperature drop. Um, if you're in a different humidity and the humidity changes. So be careful how you judge. What is your piece of equipment is only as good as the person using it. So always remember that. So I use both REM pods if I'm out doing an investigation, because that way, if they're both reacting to the same thing and they both have fresh batteries, then most likely this piece of equipment is very accurate. But I always try to go in and debunk it. This is happening for a reason. If I cannot prove any logical, logical reason um, for why this is happening, if it cannot be debunked, then again, yes, it's possible. Very, very possible. This is paranormal. A lot of times I've noticed when you go into a place, you may feel something that you don't feel is frightening, and it may even be a child spirit. So I invested in this little guy. This little guy is the Boo Buddy Jr., Boo Bear, and he works just like a REM pod. When you turn him on, he has a light, and then if anything gets close to that light, it will turn on. Now, this one is not one that talks. I didn't want one that talks. I'm not even sure if my battery's good. And this one just lights up. Now, I've been in places. Now, there you can see he's got a green button on his belly. And this one will only react to energy. Like if I would take this and turn the microwave on, then you're going to see his little paws light up, or they will light red, or his chest will light red. But it has to be energy. Now, if there would be something in the area that would be putting off energy and this thing would be lighting up, debunk it. Don't use this as, oh my goodness, look, something's touching it, something's touching it. Debunk it. Now, if there is something paranormal going on and it wants to come over and actually touch the bear and mess with the bear, and it's sitting in the middle of a room and there's no power in the room and it's lighting up, again, check your battery. Make sure always fresh batteries. Look around the room, make sure that there's nothing that could have came close to the bear. Um, Now, this one will not activate my movement. This one doesn't talk. I think that's the creepiest thing in the world, to be in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, and you have a little toy talking to you, saying, "Come play with me. Can you say your ABCs?" No, that's freaky. I'm not going to go there. No. If you're going to do this, you use everything that you have and you try different things. Now, this one has been very accurate. I have had it on investigations and absolutely nothing happened. And then I had it on one investigation and only one, and it did light up. We checked everything. Again, like I said, my husband knows power and he could not debunk it. There was fresh batteries. There was no reason why the bear should be lighting up. This bear does not malfunction. It's new and it was expensive. But in my opinion, if you cannot debunk it and you've tried every way, then maybe possibly, and that's why I say possibly, it could have something to do with the paranormal. If there's an energy there that you cannot explain, that you have tried everything to debunk, then yeah, this could be a good tool if used correctly and not used alone as the only thing that you use. So if you have a K2 meter, which this works like a K2 meter, and you have this little guy and they're both going off at the same time, sorry, moving around, then yeah, you're double checking yourself and your equipment. And then another piece of equipment that I got. This is a music box, and you can see the lights. Now, this is a 360-degree music box. Now, what this does is it does detect motion. So, something has to come close to it in order for this to go off. And I didn't like the creepy music, so I found something that was very precious. It's a beautiful lullaby. Now, if something comes around it, the lights light up. So if you're going to use this piece of equipment, Let me Now, this piece of equipment is absolutely great. If you have it in a room, in the center of a room, and you put a static camera in there where there's nobody coming in or out of the room, because this does 360. So anybody that would walk up to the doorway, it could set this off. Now, if you put this in a room by itself, you set up a camera so it can be monitored, and then you close the door. So there is nothing that can affect this. If nothing else is moving in that room and you cannot see anything else moving, we have debunked this piece of equipment, and it is a very, very good tool. And this one was fairly expensive, and it's called the Paratune, the Paratunes. And again, this one came from, I believe, the UK as well. So this is a very good piece of equipment. It is called Paratunes, Para dash Tunes. I don't remember how much it was. I would have to pull out my records. I'm thinking it was close to $100, maybe somewhere in that area. But it is a good piece of equipment. Now, don't quote me on that. I'll have to double check that. Because, like I said, I've been gathering equipment over time for years. Okay, another piece of equipment that I got is this one is also made in the UK, and this is what they call a shadow box. Now, it has lights, but you have to something has to move in front of these in order for this to come on. There is no way, unless the battery's going dead, this will not activate. So if a shadow would come by this, it'll activate these lights. If there's nothing bothering it, it will not activate. But if you're using infrared, infrared can cause this to light up. So again, debunk it. If it, if there's nothing there to cause this to go off, and it's in a room where there's nobody walking around, then this is a very good piece of equipment. Fresh batteries, because if the batteries go dead, then yeah, you're going to have something lighting up, and it's not an accurate tool. And tools are only as good as the person using them. Again, that one's from the UK, and it's called the Shadow Box. And the reason they're called the Shadow Box is so if a shadow would move across in front of it, or anything that is not human, if a say a mouse runs across the floor, it's going to set this off. Any movement that is directly in front of it, and it has to be close. It has to be in a close, almost touching it, in order for this to go off and activate. But we have tried this one. This one is a very good tool. And again, it's from the UK. And then spirit boxes. Let's talk about the spirit box. Spirit boxes, mine right now is set up with my Bluetooth on it. And the reason I have the Bluetooth is so it will Bluetooth to a speaker. If I'm not close to the area, I can Bluetooth it. This one I like. It's the Pro series. And this also has a temperature gauge on it, which works like an alarm. So if you turn it on, Let me do it this way. All right. If you turn the power on, you can see that light, and that will activate if there's a change in temperature, and it will alarm. And that way, you know that something is close to this or the temperature's changed. Now, spirit boxes, if they are used correctly, they can be used as an assist tool. I wouldn't recommend everything that comes through it being what you would say is legitimate, because you got to remember this is like a radio, like an AM, FM radio. And when you're using the spirit box, it's very annoying and it's very loud, and random words are going to just come through it. You know, if you hear music, then your rate speed is not high enough. If that's what you're using it for. Okay, let me turn it on. No, but anyway, you can see a radio station on here. This is 98.3. But if you do it in, say, reverse, and you do it at the correct speed, then it's running so fast that you're not going to hear music. But I don't know how much of this you could actually say is credible. Now, there may be every now and then something that comes through that will be relative to what you're investigating. Then, yeah, that could put it down as, again, in my opinion, possibly, possibly paranormal. But if I'm doing that and I'm using this, and say I'm at a place investigating and I have a particular name, like you mentioned, goddess, and this comes out with that particular name, then what I also am going to do is I'm going to turn this off, just leave the temperature gauge, sorry about that, declined. The decline call. Like I said, I'm new to YouTube, but I would also bring in a digital recorder, and I would just start the digital recorder and then lay it down so that no movement of hands, because sometimes when they're holding a digital recorder, if you move your hand or even brush your arm, it may sound like something, but it's not. So lay the recorder down, let it record, and just walk away. And then when you come back, if you go through it and you analyze it, and there's someone talking on this recorder in a room where no one has been to for, say, an hour, and there's no way that it can be contaminated. You don't want talking, say, two doors down from where you're recording. So, again, your equipment is only as good as the person that's using it. Again, spirit boxes, I've seen all kinds of spirit boxes. Now, my daughter, whenever she goes with me, she can do what's called the SC method, where she puts a blindfold on, she puts um, noise canceling headphones on, and turns on the spirit box. And it's a fast rate. There's no music, and I can go to the other side away from her and quietly ask questions. And if she's sitting there with noise canceling headphones on and the spirit box going into her ear, and any of the, if I'm asking a question, say, I may say, is there a woman here? And if she immediately comes back with yes, then I'm going to, well, that might have been an answer, but okay, if there's a woman here, can you tell me your name? Because I probably know a name that I'm looking for. And my daughter doesn't know what name I'm looking for. So if she then states that name that she's hearing and it's the same name, then it's going to make me wonder, is there any legitimacy to this? Um, in some cases, very possible, very possible. Um, there's been a few times that it's made you stop and say, well, that's strange because it's an automatic answer. There's no hesitation. And it's not because you're going to get random words. I don't care. You're going to get random words with uh with the spirit box. So again, try to debunk it. Don't just take everything that comes through there as, oh my gosh, there's ghosts talking to me. Oh, it's paranormal. It's paranormal. No. I mean, radio stations are going to bleed through. No matter how fast the speed is, you're still going to get. But when you get something different, the different sound, there's been times I've done it, and it's like really strange because it's a different tone and it's specific to what someone else is asking the question. Another piece of equipment that I really like, but again, very expensive. This is the original Ovilus. This is not an app that you have on your phone. And this, if you order this, you have to order it from the UK, and it is around $400. And they only make these on request. So you have to request it and pay for it in advance. And it took several weeks, maybe a month, just for this to be delivered. Now, this can be used as a tool. And again, just like any other piece of equipment, this is going to have to be tried, debunk anything you can debunk. Now, this has a word history. It will, it just said breakfast and Bill. My husband's name is Bill, Bill. So, see, some things may come through. And now it said mend and skill. So it's going to spit out random words. But Bill, Bill, that is my husband's name. And it said buy and doubt. So this is going to spit out random words, but you can see across the top when it is spitting out random words, it also works like a K2 meter. See the collars lighting up. So it will show that there's a fluctuation in energy, and you can use it just to walk around. Say you're in a place investigating and there's really nothing happening. You can turn this on and walk around with it, and it's going to spit out random words. But maybe every now and then it may spit out something that has to do with the case that you're working on, the case that you're investigating. So, yes, this can be used as a tool, but it will spit out random words, a lot of random words. So, you can try it again, try it and use it and, see what you get from it. but this has many different settings. This right here is the dictionary, the word bank. Then if you go back to the home screen, you have true and false. If you want to ask a true and false question, you've got a red light and a green light. And see the line going up? If I say, am I on the phone? See, the green light will light up. That's supposed to mean yes. And then if you ask the next question, say, am I 20? See, that's going to yes. I'm not 20. I'm going to be 62. So again, you can use these pieces of equipment. And even though this was really, really expensive, is it legitimate? I'm not sure. You know, maybe a few things, again, could possibly be related, but try to debunk it. So this has the yes, no. So if I was sitting there wanting to ask some questions and I would say, can you tell me yes or no? You know, it will go to yes or no, but you need to do your research on the place that you're going to investigate. And, that way, you can say, yes, this is related to what I was asking. And this would be a good tool if it was responding correctly. But again, it is only a tool and it is only as good as the person that uses it. So could it be? Possibly, yes and no. So depends on the person. If you cannot debunk it and it is being legitimate, then yeah, use it as that particular investigation. That yes, this was a helpful tool and part of an investigation. But that doesn't mean that just because I turn this on and words start spewing out, that I got paranormal right now going on all the way around me, because I don't. I don't. Okay, then you have one that sounds like a robot, which is, in my opinion, is very annoying. So there's different settings. And this one's supposed to say like sentences, and it sounds like a robot. I turned the speaker part around. It doesn't give you the actual word that it's saying in this mode. So there's many different modes. So this actually can be used for um, different things. I mean, it can detect temperature. Um, there's a lot of different ways that you could use this piece of equipment along with other pieces of equipment, but not alone by itself. I would say no. You know, try it and use all the tools that you have. If you're investigating something, you want to try everything that you have in your supplies, but that does not mean that they are accurate. So this one, outrageous as it was, 400 and some dollars. I would not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I haven't used it enough, or it hasn't proven itself enough to me. But that doesn't mean that I discredit it. Um, I'm not going to discredit it. Maybe at another time it'll prove me wrong. And that's what I'm wanting. Prove me wrong. You know, show me. And no, I'm not from Missouri, but show me. I want proof. And then, of course, I got the what is it called? SLS, where you walk around and it'll show you the stick figures and make it look like a little skeleton figure. And I've used it, but you have to be careful again with the SLS. And my SLS was very expensive. They generally run $500 or more. And you have to realize that they will have false readings. If there's a, say, a post, it may pick up that post as a reading. So just because it's showing you a stick figure there and it's dancing around, that doesn't actually mean that there's something there. Again, try to debunk it. Is it on something? Could it false be picking up something falsely? So the SLS is a very good tool, um, if it's used correctly. And we have tried to debunk several several times on investigations where it did show up as something being there. And we tried everything we could to debunk it. And then we put other equipment in the area that the SLS was detecting something, and other equipment was showing energy changes, temperature changes. So, was that reading on that SLS correct? Was that skeleton figure really something there that you cannot detect by human eye? Possibly, very possibly. Again, never just use one piece of equipment, and never just because it says or you see this skeleton out there and it's dancing around this little stick figure, and don't panic and think it's something it's going to harm you. It's not true. It's not true. To try to debunk it, if you cannot debunk it and it continues to happen in the same area, or I've even asked it, okay, if there's someone there, can you raise your right hand? Well, if the stick figure is raising its right hand, that's, I ask it to do, you know, can you, um, can you wave to me? And if it starts to wave to me, well, now I'm seeing a stick figure and I've got it there and other pieces of equipment there that are indicating something. And the stick figure has now got his right hand in the air and he's waving to me. That's gonna make me question, is this possibly paranormal? Yes, possibly. Is it definitely paranormal? I can't say. I mean, I hate to say that, but I cannot say 100% and would not say 100%. That is definitely paranormal because, again, I'm gonna try everything I can to debunk it. But I have had one raise his right hand and wave at me. And I said, "Okay, now I'm going to bow to you. Can you bow to me?" And I bowed and it bowed. So, crazy as it sounds, whatever I was asking that little stick figure to do, he done it. So, is it possible? It's possible. It's very possible because I did have a K2 meter there that was indicating energy influx, and fluctuations in energy. And I couldn't do a motion sensor 360 because the when you're using the SLS, um, you're it's putting out lights and it would set off a motion sensor if I had one of my motion sensors there. So I could not use that, but I could use things that I knew that the SLS would not trigger and cause to set off. So that was definitely paranormal in your opinion. Okay, see, and that's why I say you got to use common sense, and try to debunk it. We're gonna go in. Someone's gonna say this place is haunted, and believe me, there's times that if you go in just for one night to investigate one of these places that's supposedly haunted, right here in my area, there is a place that's supposedly haunted. It's $1,000, $1,000 for you to go in and investigate from I think it's 8 PM or 9 PM until 3 AM. And you have to have, even if it's 2 people and it's not a group of 8 or 10 or 20, it's still the same amount. So if I'm gonna pay $1,000 to go into a place that's supposedly haunted, I'm going to go in there to prove that thing is not haunted, and I'm paying $1,000 to prove to you that you're just out there to get the money, and that's it. Just money. You're here to get money. And a lot of them, I understand if it's a historical building, they're charging those fees, and then what fees are paid for these particular ghost hunting overnights, that money goes to pay the utility bills, goes to upkeep of the historical building. I understand that. But if I can go in there and I'm not finding anything, yes, $1,000. Yes. It was way, I mean, that's to me, that's too much. But I'm just being upfront. People will make money off of the paranormal. And I'm here to tell you that if I'm going to go in, I'm going to go in. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing a shirt right now. Let me move my hair. It says, I partied with the ghost at Bobby Mackey's. I went to Bobby Mackey's. And Bobby Mackey's, I'm sure everyone's seen Bobby Mackey's on all these other platforms where people went in and investigated it. And my husband and I went there with a group. And of course, I'm not going to say what group. It was a very nice group, but I don't want to throw people's names out there because of everything that we've seen on YouTube. Exactly. I agree. I think there should be a limit, but people are greedy. I'm sorry. They are greedy. And, it depends on what you want to pay. I mean, you don't have to go to that place if they want $1,000. If you can get a group of 10 people and all of you split it, that cost, and yeah, it would be worth, maybe it would cost you what, $200 and the other people 200, then yeah, you're going as a group. However, the more people, in my opinion, that you take into an investigation, the more chance of noise exposure. Um, if you're trying to debunk something, you the less people that are there, the less chance of any cross contamination, noise contamination. So, if you got a lot of money and you want to pay $1,000, you can do it. I did go into the place that does charge $1,000 with a group, and I think we paid like $100 or something a ticket for me and my husband. So $200 is what we ended up paying, and I got to be in the house overnight and and investigate. So, or in the historical building. So I have been there, and there I would like to go back, but I'm not going to pay $1,000 out of my pocket. But if I go in with a group, it will have to be a structured group. So there's no noise contaminations. So you would have to plan so many things in advance, in order to go do it correctly. If Because I'm there to basically say, prove it to me. I don't believe in it. You're making way a lot of money. So for my $1,000, something better show me that there's something here. Now, I may go and it may be haunted, but just because I don't get anything, can I say that that building that they're charging 100 or $1,000 a night for, that it is not haunted? No, I can't say that because you don't demand the paranormal to happen and it's just going to turn on and turn off. Maybe you'll be there all night long and nothing will happen. You could be there 10 times and maybe nothing would happen. But you could go in one time and you could not debunk what was happening. So just because it didn't happen to me, does that mean this place is not haunted? Like Bobby Mackey's, the shirt I'm wearing. That's all we heard. on YouTube and different channels and platforms. They went to Bobby Mackey's and they got scratched. They got chased. Um, they would never go back in. It was so scary. So my husband and I went and we bought the t-shirts. He got one and I got one. So we were there. I even bought a hoodie because it was cold that night in Bobby Mackey's. And my understanding is I think they're going to be tearing down Bobby Mackey's. I think that's supposed to happen pretty soon, as a matter of fact. So I think I was very lucky, me and my husband, to go to Bobby Mackey's. But my husband, I love the way that he helped me explore and investigate Bobby Mackey's. When we were upstairs in the apartment where the one gentleman lived, his name was Carl, and he supposedly got possessed by a demon and had to have an exorcism done. And they did the exorcism in the bar down below. And I think, well, at that time, maybe it was a kitchen area. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and recall. So we were up in his apartment and we had a K2 meter. And my husband said, "This is strange. The K2 meter would go, it has a one green light, another green light, a yellow light, an orange light, and then red. This went to the yellow, which is in the middle, and it stayed there. It completely stayed there. And my husband was taking the K2 meter up and down and back and forth. Well, would not, it would stay right on that yellow. And my husband said, and he said, I'm not saying this is paranormal, but there's something high uh, voltage that's causing this to stay on yellow because it's not fluctuating. It's just going to yellow and then it's staying on yellow. So we left there and went down below, right directly below the apartment. And in the same area, it was doing the same thing. So then we walked outside Bobby Mackey's. And my husband looked up and he said, "Huh, look right up there above you." And there was power lines that ran over top of that bar, over top of the apartment above, and it would have been below, and they ran directly over that area, which would cause a high voltage of energy, not high enough that anyone's going to get shocked. But if you are exposed to high voltages of energy for long periods of times, then you can become restless, sleep deprived, hallucinate. So there's a lot of things that could have caused what happened to Carl or what Carl feels happened to him. It it could have been caused by that. That's what we were getting out of it. So that was debunked in our opinion, debunked. It was not what we were seeing on the K2 was not paranormal. Where will the spirits go when they tear down the facility? That's a good question. And the reason it's a good question, it's a very, very good question because it was not always Bobby Mackey's um, country bar. It originally started out as a slaughterhouse where they slaughtered animals. Or no, 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 a brewery. Is that how you say it? And they had tunnel like this tunnel that they would bring water from the river up into the facility and brew beer. And then after that, it became a slaughterhouse. And when it was a slaughterhouse, they used those drains and I guess let blood run supposedly. I wouldn't say for sure because I do not have those facts. And it would run down those drains and into the river. Then after that, it became a Italian dance hall, and it was ran by the mafia. And there was a staircase that went from the office down into the basement, and there was two old cells that they would put people in. If they were found cheating, they would take them down and put them in the cells. And they were supposedly, they had like dancing ladies, and the father's daughter fell in love with one of the band members, which he did not approve of. And she ended up getting pregnant. And her father supposedly poisoned her fiance. And when she found out, she poisoned her father killed her lover. She poisoned her father and then supposedly hung herself there. And then after that, it became Bobby Mackey's. So, you know, if there is a spirit there, was it even attached to what part of this that the building's been added to and added to? As a matter of fact, there's an old cabin or old house in the basement. And when you go to the basement, you're like, what the heck? And you see a house, a window, and there's even wallpaper inside. And they just built this building right up on around it, and it became part of the basement. So I don't know what would happen to the spirits. And I'm not even sure what spirits we'd be dealing with. What time era, what, or was it even anything to do with the building? Could it have been the land itself? Because many times I think the land itself is connected to the paranormal activity. And then someone builds on the land and it is there, and it's maybe been there for years and years. That's why I'm calling it the realm of paranormal. Where did it come from? What caused it? That's my question. Why is it happening? Is there an explanation for why it's happening? So it may not even be the building at all. It may be the land, and when they tear it down and rebuild it, it very well may still be there. But those are the questions that I try to find answers for. That's why I started a paranormal channel. I want to understand, what is this? What's happening? Why is it happening? And can it be proven that that's what it is? Is there no other explanation for what's happening? So that's that's my opinion. And like I said, I'm wearing the shirt. I went there, I spent the night, and did some things happen that made me question. Yeah, it did. But can I say 100% that it was paranormal? No. Can I say 100% that it was not paranormal? No. And I'm wondering if you go into a place and you're there for one night. Now, this is my opinion. You may not find anything. You may have every piece of equipment you have out and not get anything. Is one night enough to actually determine whether it is paranormal or if it's electric or plumbing or structure? The structural building itself may be settling. I mean, to me, I think it would be, in my opinion, if you could do, say, 48 hours or 72 hours in an empty building where nobody can go in, nobody can mess with anything, no one can set up anything, then maybe it would be a better way to discover, what is causing this. Because if you rent a place and you go for the night, just because you set up a date, that doesn't mean paranormal's going to be there. You know, they don't have a calendar. They don't have a time. Maybe they can't even determine day from night or hours. So just because you book a place doesn't mean that the paranormal is going to say, ah, they booked it for this date. Now, everybody remember, come on, spirits, they're coming. We got to be here at 9 p.m. till 5 a.m. You guys all ready? Come on, let's get here. That it ain't going to work that way. Paranormal is not going to just show up because you showed up. And if it does, is it paranormal or is it you thinking that it's paranormal? That's the question. So, I mean, this is my opinion only. But with my experience with the paranormal, if if you go somewhere and they're saying at 11 o'clock every night the same thing happens, and it's been happening for say 2 years, and every night, say at 11:05 or 11:10, the same thing happens every single night. Well, if you're there at that time and it happens, you're going to try and debunk it, just like I went through. Is it electrical? Is it plumbing? Is it the structure of the building itself? And if it isn't, and it's being repetitive, you know, the stone tape theory, I've heard a lot about the stone tape theory, and I do believe in the stone tape theory. If something happened that was very tragic and it replays itself every day at the same exact time, the same exact place, and it doesn't change. It's like watching a video rewind and rewind and rewind. Yes. Yes, goddess. I have noticed that spirits will follow a particular person. And if it really is a spirit there and you can sense spirits, those spirits know it. They will seek you out. They will find you. And so, like with me, being able to sense things and feel things, I can't go into a place unprotected. I have to pray. I have to make sure that I cover myself in a white light and protection. And I don't want anything to follow me home. And if I do go there and I do experience something, I always, before I leave, I want them to know you cannot follow me. If you want your story told, you use my equipment. I'll tell your story, but you cannot follow me. But my main question is, why are you still here? You know, are you still here because you did not get justice for something that happened to you? Are you still here because this is your favorite place to be and you don't want to be anywhere else? Um, why are you here? Why are you here? That's my question. And they may want to tell me, maybe if we can get a message across, they can finally find peace and they can pass on and move on. But that's up to the spirits themselves. And they have to be the ones that are ready. They have to be ready to move on. If they're there and are not wanting to go, why? Why? There has to be a reason. Maybe it was their favorite place, or maybe they died so quickly that they're confused. I mean, there's so many different reasons, in my opinion, that there could be paranormal activity. Um, could it be landline or ley lines? You know, I mean, they say that ley lines have energy that they put off that no one understands it, but they know the energy's there. Is there certain stones or material that will put off energy? Yeah. But the stone tape theory says that there's certain stones and wood that basically is imprinted with the memory and it stays there. So, could that happen? Very possibly. I mean, I've seen things that it's almost like watching a movie over and over and over and over. And to me, that is repetitive, and it's maybe it is imprinted on that place, and that's why they're doing it. Yeah, I agree. I think it would be better if you were there for a few days. If it's an empty structure and a family's not living there and you have that ability, I really feel that'd be the best way to investigate. Um, Most of these people, it's, one night. And like I said, if you go to any site and you check on any location that offers um, overnight ghost hunting or whatever, they limit the time that you're there because they want to keep booking out more and more and more and more and more people and making more and more and more money. I mean, I can understand if you have a building and you know for a fact that it is haunted and you want to let people come in and investigate it, then someone has to upkeep it. If it's kept empty, the utilities have to be kept on, the upkeep of the building. I understand that. But some people are greedy. And not only is your equipment, I mean, this is just a very small table of equipment that I just scattered on a little table. This is only a piece of equipment that I have, and then I have the SLS. You've got night vision cameras, which night vision cameras are amazing because they may pick up things that like a shadow that your regular um, camera cannot pick it up, but in infrared, it's going to pick up something more, and they're expensive. Um, and then so you've got your night vision cameras, and then you have to have um, let me see what else do we have. We've got recorders, digital recorders, and batteries for everything. I mean, they need to allow the ghost hunter to stay a while to really investigate. I agree. I agree. 100%. I agree. If you would have more time, uh, now, if it is someone that their home, or if say they contact you and say that something don't feel right in my home, if they really want you to come in and investigate, they will allow you to come in. You don't pay to go into their home, and I don't charge anyone to go into their home. And if you can spend as much time as you feel that you need, and then explain to them, record everything, you know, have everything ready so that you can then at the end sit down and present it to the homeowner and say, this is what we found, and this is being caused because it's a plumbing problem, or this is being caused because you have a draft, you know this is caused because the house settled and it's leaning to the one side. That's why your doors are closing. It's nothing paranormal. It's the actual structure of the home. And now if you can go through and you can help a homeowner to understand, you're not being haunted. Your home is just an old home and it's settling. Your windows are not properly sealed. There's drafts coming through. Your house is settled. That's what's causing, the doors to close when you open them. I mean, it gives the homeowner that comfort that they need. And if you can go into a home and you can provide this comfort that they need, then that's amazing. Definitely go do that. But if you just want to go in someone's home and promote that you are a paranormal investigator, and every single thing that you pick up, you're going to leave that home, not really try to help that homeowner, and then post it on your platform for views and and donations, then that's wrong. You know, in my opinion, that's my opinion. Everyone can run their platform as they see fit. Now, if someone wants to donate to me, because like just this little bit of things here on the table, I'm showing you, you know, they're not cheap. Is there a way to get rid of spirits once you do ghost hunting for a homeowner? Yes. Yes, there is. Um, you can go through if you know how to properly cleanse a home. You can go through and cleanse and smudge that home. You can ask the spirits to move on. You can maybe assist the spirits to move on. Um, you also want to, if the homeowner maybe, and it has happened, has done something that has brought this unwanted spirit there, and they can do that on their own by not really knowing what they're doing. It's an accident, they don't really see any harm in it, and the next thing you know, they've got things happening in their home, and it was brought there because not intentionally, but by accident, because they did not know how to properly use, say, a Ouija board. A Ouija board can be a very, very dangerous piece of equipment. Yes, it's sold as a toy, but it can also, spirits will take, especially evil spirits, will take advantage and enter any way that you open a doorway. So if a doorway is opened, then that home needs to be cleansed and that doorway needs to be closed. And then the homeowner needs to never open that doorway again, to walk away from it. And it will work. It doesn't work bam instantly just because you went through and smudged. It may take months before everything calms down. It may take several visits. It may take several investigations. So, but yes, it can be done. It can be done. And if you, as an investigator, do not know, if you get all the evidence, which I do, and you do not know how to help the homeowner to rid their home of this spirit, then you need to reach out to the proper people that know how to do this. There may be a local church that has went in and done cleansings. There may be another group that you're associated with that you know have went in and done cleansings. But just because you light a piece of sage and you walk through the house with a feather and you say, go away, don't come back. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not helping that homeowner. So yes, done correctly, it can be done. I mean, there's no question. No question. I had spirits in my home and I got all the information. I got all I documented everything, recorded it, and then I actually called a group to come into my home and I told them what I was experiencing, and they did their own investigation with their own equipment, and everything that I had told them that I felt, they felt, and they captured and they recorded, and then they did a cleansing of my home, and they cleansed my home. But that it didn't stop immediately. It was still here, and things did calm down. But there's nothing the shadow, the dark shadow that I was seeing and that I recorded, that it's gone. But it didn't happen that night. Of course, you have to continue to pray. You have to continue to disassociate yourself with that particular spirit or that particular entity. You know, you're saying, "Look, you're not welcome here. This is my home, and you're not welcome here." And that spirit will eventually, it will go away. So, yes, that's my opinion. That's what I've experienced. Do the spirits ever follow the person when they go, or do they stay restricted to the home? They will follow. If people go in there and they're not sure what they are doing, they can actually follow you home, especially if they feel that you're an empath or um, you're sensitive. The spirits will come to you. You don't have to look for those spirits. They will find you because they know that you can sense them. And then once they start showing themselves to you through your equipments or recordings or whatever, the investigation has proven as evidence, if they can be that, um, if they can present themselves in that manner and you actually notice them, maybe no one else had noticed them the way you did. So they're like, "Whoa, she understands me." So yeah, they're going to want to attach to you and they're going to want to go with you because they know that you can sense them, you can feel them. You know that they're there. You know that they're real. And yes, they will try to attach themselves to you and they will follow you to your home. And it may be days before you realize that something followed you home. So yes, they're not restricted to any home. Um, in my experience, spirits can go wherever they want to. They are energy. Um, we have to go and open the door and walk out. They don't. They can go wherever they choose. And I really feel that's what it is. They maybe choose to be at a particular place. And maybe they've been there for years and years and then something happened. Say maybe that home had not been remodeled for years. And that's one time that you always hear. I never had anything happen into my home until we started remodeling. And then activity started. So that was attached to that particular home. And when they went to change things, someone got upset because they were changing their what they felt was their home. And yeah, so yeah, it can. So do you sage yourself after yes, you want to sage yourself after you do an investigation, not before. I usually do a prayer and I close my eyes, envision white light, cover myself around myself with white light and ask for protection. But when you're done investigating, yes, you definitely want to sage yourself and you want to pray and you want to tell those spirits you are not welcome to follow me. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for showing me that you are real and that you are here. If we can help you in any way, we will try to help you if you are ready to move on, but you are not welcome to come with me. And you have to set it's just like if you have children, you set rules. It's the same thing when you are working with the supernatural or the paranormal. You have to have rules, you know, and you have to enforce them. You have to be stern and you have to believe. If you were just saying it and you don't believe it, then you're wasting your words. So you really have to be careful. I've had things follow me home and it's not good. It's not a good thing. And even though you try to protect yourself, they will try to find you and they will try to follow you because they know that you knew they were there. You sensed them. Um, you didn't doubt, that this could definitely be possibly paranormal. And by you having these special abilities, believe me, spirits know it. And they will try to attach to you and they will try to follow you because finally someone hears them or senses them and they know it. So it's like if you're, say, a loner and you live alone and you don't really talk to anybody, and then all of a sudden someone comes to visit and they talk, you enjoy that. That's how I would look at it. They're there, they've been alone, and now all of a sudden there's someone there that is listening to them. They want to hear what they have to say, and they do believe that they're there. So, yeah, you have to be careful. Um, the paranormal is real, it's not a game. And anyone that goes into it thinking that it's a game, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. But yeah, to answer your question, Goddess, yes, you have to make sure that you don't want to bring them back. Yeah. So, I mean, I use my out of all the tools that I have, and I still need to get many more. And like I said, I don't, I've been buying everything a little bit at a time because it's very expensive. And if people do want to come on and, donate toward say, a historical building that's haunted, and I know it's going to be expensive. And like I said, you got to pay those fees to go in, or for equipment, and they want to make a donation, that's fine because that helps me just grow a little faster. But I'm all self funded. Um, and now I'm on disability, I'm disabled. I used to work with my husband as a carpenter helper until I had a job injury, and it destroyed my ability to work. So, this is what I'm doing with my time. I can do it as my ability allows me to. If I need to sit down, I can sit down because I can't walk for long distances or stand for long distances or anything like that. So, you know, that's the way that my platform is ran. And my best tool, even though, like I said, started to say my best tool, even though I'm putting money into all these tools, is yourself, your body. You may feel, say, cold chills. Have you ever been in a room and you just get cold chills and the hair raises up on your arms and the hair on the back of your neck? Right. I felt one the other night trying to get my attention, even though I was between sleep and awake. Or sleep and wake. It felt very real, and it very well could have been real, Goddess. Because if you like I said, the best tool for me is my body, and our body is so full of. I mean, you look at all the senses that we're blessed with: touch, feel, smell, sight, taste. I mean, your skin is so sensitive, to heat, to cold. Um, if you go into a building and it's warm and then all of a sudden it just feels like someone turned on an AC and it's cold, a fan, and it's blowing on you, and you're looking around and it's 90 degrees and uh, there's there's absolutely no windows open, there's no doors open, there's no way that this could be happening. Your body's sensing that, feeling that. So trust your body. You may smell something. Maybe there was absolutely no smell. You've been in this place for hours, and then all of a sudden you get this rank smell, or maybe you smell flowers, or maybe you smell perfume. Trust your senses. Your body is the best tool that you have when you're in an investigation. If you really want to know if it's paranormal, if it's not paranormal, you're using your eyes, you're looking. You're using your nose to smell. You can even taste. Sometimes you can taste something that that it's like, whoa, what is that? You trust your body. So if you feel it, it's very possible that there's something there trying to get your attention. So your body is your best tool. So if you're feeling it, maybe use other things close to you that will help you determine is this real? I mean, if it happens repeatedly, is it happening? Log it down. Is it happening at the same time every night or every day at the same time? Is it repetitive? Was it just a one time occurrence? Now, I'm not psychic in any way. Will not say I am psychic. Um, I'm not. Um, my ability was slowly developed and thrown on me without me asking for it. And it's that, like I said, it's not something I paid to go receive. It's not a gift that I wanted. Mine was just thrown on me. And mine was because of the the surgery. It was an emergency surgery, me dying twice on the operating table, and then bringing me back. The last time they didn't think they were going to bring me back, and they were they didn't know when they did if there was going to be any brain damage at that point. They thought they had lost me for good the second time, and so this is not something that I asked for. It's not something that I practiced. It's not anything like that. So if if you have a gift, it should be used, in my opinion, to help people, not to harm anyone. That way, anyone who wants to donate to your channel can, even when you're not live. Yes. And like I said, I'm in no hurry to go out and go full force into investigating and building my channel up because, like I said, I went through this disability injury, and they have now the second nerve stimulator in my back, and it seems to be working. And so that's another thing that my body has to adjust to. And so my husband wants to start going out again, and that way I know he's with me or my daughter's with me because I'm limited right now until, well, I guess forever. The best thing they could do for me at this point was a stimulator, the nerve stimulator in my back, which goes into your spinal cord and then sends stimulation to my foot. My foot was injured. Um, broke my ankle was broken, and the nerve damage was so bad. The impact was so bad that it destroyed the small nerves in my foot. So, you know, I'm just now to the point where I'm ready to get up and start trying to do a little more investigating. But I want to allow people to come along with me and to understand why I do this. I mean, I don't do this for clicks. I don't do this for views. If maybe my experiences and what happened to me can help another person, maybe they're going through the same thing and don't understand it. Maybe that's what my gift is supposed to be used for. I'm not really sure. I agree. Gifts are supposed to be used to help people, not harm them. Exactly. I'm glad you survived. Yes, it's been a journey, and but I think we're as strong as we allow ourselves to be. I've always been a fighter. I'm not one to give up. I do have a big heart, a huge heart, and that maybe is one of my downfalls. But I'm strong in spirit, in will, where I lack strength in body. I gain it in will and love. So, but yeah, I mean, so you believe in the you do believe in the paranormal. Is that correct? I do believe there is paranormal out there. I believe there's a lot of fakery. I'll go on and watch some of these platforms, and my husband and I we will laugh until our ribs hurt. Uh, it's like, oh yeah, uh-huh, no, no, no. You know, now maybe some of it, yeah, but a lot of it is fake. Be careful. Be careful what you watch. And I think you can tell the ones that are truly in the paranormal research for the right reason. Most of them have probably had a paranormal experience at one time or another in their life, and they're looking for answers. They want to know, what was that? Was it real? Has it happened to other people? And normally, the real paranormal investigating teams that are out there, that's probably what actually encouraged them to go into the paranormal field. That's what encouraged me to go into the paranormal field. Yes, you do. Okay. I really I think you had said earlier that you did believe in the paranormal. But yeah, I do believe the paranormal is very real, and um, people need to be careful, be cautious. Um, Even as long as I've been experiencing this, I can't explain everything. I'll look for answers every day, and my mind is like a sponge, like a huge sponge, and I just want to learn more and more, and find more answers. And if you are researching something, you fully research it. You don't just halfway research it. You don't, you know, yes, a lot of fakery. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's funny. I mean, some of it is right down funny. I'm sorry, but it is. It's funny. But it's entertainment. If you want to be entertained, it's entertainment. Um, Now, whenever I was on an investigation with a group, there was several of us, and we were in I think it was the second floor of this building, and we had a guide who was taking us through and explaining, what all happened and in the building and what all's been reported to have happened. And we're standing there, and unfortunately, when I experience the paranormal, the people beside of me, when the guide was talking, I was like, "Oh my!" And she's like, "What?" I was like, first I'm looking at the window because it's like 100 degrees up there. I mean, there's no AC. It's a historical building. There's no air movement. Everyone that's standing up there is like fanning themselves. It's that hot, and it felt like someone had taken an air conditioning unit and put it on top over top of my head and turned the fan on high. I mean, the cold air was coming down, and it was cold and it was fast. And when I said, "Oh my," and then explained to her, I was like, do you not feel that?" I said, "It's like cold." And then not only did I feel it, but two people over on this side felt it and two on this side, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's like an AC unit." They said, "We're gonna follow you." And then other people come over, and they not only could I experience this, but it expanded. They felt it too, and we looked everywhere, there was no explanation for it. So when I experienced paranormal, it's there. And not only do I experience it, but unfortunately, people that are really close to me or near me at the time, they're going to experience it too, unfortunately. So, me doing things like that's proving to me I'm not crazy. This is just not in my mind. If I'm feeling it and two people here and two people on the other side, there's five of us feeling this at the same time and no one else in the room's feeling it. Yeah, there's definitely something here. So that's why I have to believe there's things that we cannot explain. And in my opinion, if it cannot be debunked, if it cannot be explained, then it has to be put in a realm of possible paranormal. It very well may be. Yeah. Wow. That's what the people were saying. Oh, wow. They said, "Does this happen to you all the time?" I said, "Yeah." So I know what I'm opening myself up to if I go into a place. I have to prepare myself because I know what can happen. I know that they know that I'm going to be able to sense them. I may not hear them, but I'm going to be able to sense them. And it may take a digital recorder for me to actually hear them. My camcorder, if it's recording, there's been many times I went back across the video and there's a voice there when there was nobody there. So you'll go back and you try everything you can to debunk it. And if there's no one in that house but you and you are a woman and all the windows are closed and there's nothing close to the home and you always look outside. Is there someone outside? Um, you try everything that you can to debunk anything that you're hearing on these recordings. And when you realize there's no explanation, sometimes digital equipment like a recorder or a camcorder will pick up things that our ears cannot hear. Will pick up things that are like your camcorder. Yes. If you experienced it, yes, you do believe it. That's exactly right. But sometimes it can be it don't have to be an overwhelming thing. Like when I'm watching some of these platforms and I'm seeing someone's knocking on the door, boom, 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 and they open the door and there's nothing there, you know, that would probably scare the bejesus out of me. If someone started knocking on my door, boom, 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 and I open the door and nothing there, that would probably scare the bejesus out of me. I'd have to step back and say, now, wait a minute, you know. So I'm hoping that that doesn't ever happen to me. Praying that never happens to me because I would not want that to happen to me. But yeah, it can be very obvious or it can be something that is just, it would scare the mess out of me too. Yeah. Yeah, when I'm watching that on these platforms, I'm thinking, if I go on an investigation, I'm gonna have to put on my if I'm doing a live, trigger. I cuss when scared. Trigger. You don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth. Be prepared because if something does that to me, I'm liable to drop some words that a sailor wouldn't drop because I'm scared. And I don't like jump scares. I hate jump scares. If you want to hear a bad word come out of my mouth, jump scare me. I'm gonna cuss. So yeah. So I think it's all in the way that we address it. It's all in the way that if you choose to live with the paranormal, then you're going to have to understand the paranormal. And that's been my quest. That's why I call it real paranormal investigations because I am looking for answers. You know, this happened to me. I wasn't ready for it, and I'm just I want answers, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one that goes out there and they feel these things and they see things that they don't understand. So maybe me putting out videos like this will help them understand that it's nothing that they did that brought this on, unless they did it to themselves. Do I have a Ouija board in my home? No, I do not. Do I want one in my home? No. I mean, the things that I have in my home is equipment that I've investigated, I've researched it. I've seen it in videos, when I'm looking on the site and they have a video to explain the product and what it does. That's what I'm using. And at first, it was the only tool I had was my body, what I was sensing, what I was feeling. So it's every day you learn. You learn, there is equipment that can actually detect what you're feeling and what you're sensing. So equipment is not bad, but you have now like the apps. I do have the Ghost Tube app, and I think the Necrophonics app and the Ghost Talker app, I believe is what they're called. And apps that you download on your phone. Now, they to me are similar to the Ovilus. You know, even though this was over $400 and took, I think it was a month. I think I'm thinking 2 months for them to actually create it. Because when you order it, then they build it. They only build them as they're ordered. The apps are similar to the Ovilus, and they're going to throw out random words. But if you have an app on your phone and you're walking around and there's nothing happening, and it starts to throw out sentences and words, if some of those words or sentences are relative to your investigation, then that's good. But are the apps that you download on your phone 100% accurate? No, no, they're not. I mean, I've been places and had apps running and nothing compared to where I was at or any of the questions I was asking, none of that. Same thing with the spirit boxes. Um, Random words. Sometimes it's a radio bleeding in. I put mine so fast that you don't hear the music and all that bleeding in. So if something comes through, it is scanning that radio station so fast and not forward, it's scanning it in reverse. So with it going that speed, if it's the same voice over all those giving me words, over all those scanned reverse stations, and it's the same voice through all of it, then that is probably something that could possibly be relevant. So I'm not going to completely say the spirit boxes are worthless, but would I depend on nothing but a spirit box? No, no. Would I use one? Yeah, not by itself. If I'm catching something through the spirit box, then I'm going to want to try the digital recorder to see if I'm catching anything relevant to what the spirit box said. If it's coming through multiple tools that you have, then yeah, it's possibly paranormal. So you have to be careful what you're doing. And you do not want to get into the paranormal and overstep your bounds. I would never challenge. I don't want to go in someplace and challenge um, supposed spirits in a home that it's haunted with. Now, my husband is a little braver, and does he challenge spirits? Unfortunately, he will. Uh, but that's everyone has their own method and their own way. Has my husband wished a time or two that he had not challenged it? Probably. I know I told him, I said, well, that went well. Thought you I wouldn't do that again. So, yeah, it can happen. Be careful. The paranormal is real. It might not be what some people want to hear, and maybe they will never believe in the paranormal until it actually happens to them. But do I believe that there is a realm of paranormal? Yes, 100%. Do I believe that it is all dangerous and evil? No, because not every person is good and not every person is evil. And I try to remember if I'm in a home and it's supposed to be haunted by a person, I want to I want to approach that investigation as I would talking to a person, not a demon, not an evil spirit. If they feel that it could possibly be haunted by a former owner who had passed away or something like that, then I'm going to try and speak to them like I would speak to any person. Is there a reason that you're here? Ask them questions. If maybe they will respond to you, maybe they won't. But I always try to be respectful, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries. I will only go to a point where if I feel I need to take a break, walk away, go outside, smoke a cigarette, drink a cup of coffee, I'm going to do that because I do not ever want to make things worse for me or my home by overstepping in an area I am not familiar with or that I have not researched it. I have not prepared myself and just jumped into it. I mean, that's not good. If any time I'm getting ready to go investigate a place, I want to pull up the history on that place, as much history as I can get. What all occurred from the time that this was just a piece of land until today. And the more research that I can do, the more history that I can get, the better informed I am as to what may or may not be there. So, this is how I feel about the paranormal. And all I can do is ask questions, and research, and hopefully the information and investigations that I can bring forward can be left there as a record that others can go to, that they can review, that they know that it's real. What we're going in and presenting is real. And that's how I want my platform to be. And if there's other ways in my platform that I can help people and I feel led to do that, and it is not harming anyone, and it's not being judgmental or biased or throwing out false accusations, but only based on facts and what I am interpreting, then that can be considered as well. But I'm not even going to condemn anyone who does the paranormal investigating. I'm glad that more and more groups did go out and start collecting evidence and bringing forth paranormal platforms because it gives people like me a place to go to find answers. I can look at what they have got. I can then do my own research. I heard you say now I do have to ask, and then it started buffering on my end. Missed everything. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't remember what I was saying. Um, oh, I don't even remember what I was saying. I'm sorry, buffered. Um, basically, short recap. Um, I don't want to condemn any paranormal group that goes out there to investigate. And when I go to investigate, I want to do the research. I want to do, if I, whatever I'm going to investigate, I look up the history. I go back to anything that I can find. And I look up that history and I check that history out and I make notes. And this is what it was when it was this land, and then it became this, and clear up into the day that I'm going to go, because that way I've gotten as much history on the area as I can get. Um, and if something that I collect would help other people, that I can leave as a record of my investigation, the evidence that I've collected, the research I've done, and they that can be left there. But I'm just glad that other paranormal platforms were coming out and making it easier for more and more people that really do believe in the paranormal to try and investigate and research and ask questions and find answers, or possibly find answers. So that's what I that's what I'm trying to do. But no, I believe in the paranormal. There's no doubt. There's something there. And maybe we're not supposed to understand it all. But if what we learn and create, you know, maybe that will help the next person, because they can go back and retrace it, looking at the history, looking at our investigations, looking at our evidence. And I think that would be a wonderful thing, that you can share that experience and maybe help somebody else, help them grow. But I've been on here now over 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. And I thank you, Goddess, for being here through this whole long 2 hours. Um, but I hope this video does help somebody out there to understand why I'm interested in the paranormal, and maybe will encourage others that have thought about it but were afraid of being ridiculed. Do what your heart tells you to do. Follow your um, follow your own soul. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Goddess. Thank you. Awesome video. Well, thank you very much. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. And thank you for being here through this whole thing. And yeah, if you feel there's something around you, trust your body, your senses, and maybe use a recorder. If you can find a digital recorder and it's really quiet, and it can't be noise, cross contamination, noise, no, it's just you and the recorder and you're not holding it, I know I don't like to hold it and walk around with it unless I do not have a choice, because any movement that you make can maybe sound like a whisper and it's not. Um, but you don't have to have expensive equipment. Um, this is just the way I've decided to do it. But you can use uh, a cheap digital recorder. I even have one of the mini micro cassette players, with the little tapes. And I don't just use the digital. I even have one of those, and I can have them both running at the same time. And if they both, maybe one or both, will pick up something. If you have a camera that you can just set on and let it record, and you're just going about doing your thing, and there's no noise, and then you hear a voice when you're playing it back, investigate it. So maybe what you think you're feeling, you can confirm to yourself. This, it's not just me thinking it. Now here I'm finding evidence that it is happening. It happens around me, and there's no reason. I mean, there don't have to be a reason, goddess. I mean, it just can. Yes, yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, good idea. But don't just because one little thing might sound like a whisper. Don't just automatically think that's paranormal. You know, do your research. It may take weeks, it may take months, like with me, years. And I'm still, as you can tell, a little leery about bringing all this forward, because some people are going to see this video and say, that woman is crazy. You're only crazy until, or you only think someone's crazy until it happens to you. So, okay, thank you. And until next time, have a blessed day. And I'm sending love and light. And bye bye.